it's a bit hard to know what to say after that. You can understand why I've told my sister that April is going on the speakers list at my funeral just in front of her. So, in fact, Phil Burton's introduction of April said it all, and that is that April Parmalee is the driving force of AmCham in Australia. And what you see here this evening, what you've seen in terms of the growth of membership, the extent to which AmCham has been driving the Australia-US trade and investment relationship from the Australian end, is all the product of April's leadership, not only of our magnificent staff, but indeed of our membership. And I pay a special tribute to you, April. Thank you. Her Excellency Ambassador Carolyn Kennedy, I don't use these auto cues, so if I'm actually looking at you, Ambassador Kennedy, I'm not reading "Hello, Ambassador Kennedy," so if you're wondering. But Ambassador Carolyn Kennedy, welcome. Thank you for serving your country in our country, and thank you for agreeing to be the patron of the American Chamber of Commerce in Australia. It means a great deal to us. Thank you. Yeah. One of my fellow directors, Laura Anderson, thank you for co-chairing the gala. Anthony Pratt, also co-chairing the gala. And to you, Anthony, for everything that you, your family, and your companies do and have done for Australia, we are immensely grateful. The Australians not only employed, but also increasingly the Americans employed by the Pratt family and businesses is an immense tribute to the drive, leadership and energy of Anthony. Rob Lebusk is also one of my co-directors on the board of AmCham and the Vice President Asia Pacific for Verizon, and I thank Rob for his support in terms of being a major partner for us here this evening for our gala. I also want to thank not just April for the sense of what I said earlier, but also for the leadership in bringing all of this together. It was in our board meeting in March last year, we had a discussion about whether it would be a good idea in driving emerging technologies for not just defence, but for trade and investment between Australia and the United States to recognise those who are excelling in 6 key technology areas. There was some risk attached to that. As you can imagine, we were still living through the COVID lockdown on and off period, but we made the decision as a board that we would do this. And last year it was an outstanding success. And just looking at you all here this evening, it is obviously a stupendous success. It's in every sense of the word. To the ambassadors that are here, present and past, I don't know what you call a gaggle of ambassadors. Ambassador Sinodinos describes them as an anxiety of ambassadors because they're always worried about what's going on and getting it into a cable. But so to the ambassadors, to the sponsors, thank you for your support of the gala, your belief in the Australia-US alliance, to recognise also the award nominees and recipients that are here this evening, and then, of course, all the normal people that have come along as well. So thank you. This has happened, as you know, as a result of the work of a lot of hard work, and certainly not me. And there are 2 young women on our staff in particular, Denise Sorrell and Veronica Zangarvelli, who owe special thanks of gratitude for putting all of this together this evening. Thank you to you both. I've found over the years that once you've got the right CFO, you've got the right person managing the finances in any organisation, you can then concentrate as a leader on your job. And AmCham 25 years ago employed a young woman called Michelle Meredith. She came in as a bookkeeper. A quarter of a century later, Michelle manages the finances for AmCham, and I can tell you they are in very good shape. Michelle would be mortified if she was brought up here to be publicly recognised, so April will present Michelle with a a gift of gratitude from us when I finish speaking, so an hour or so from now, basically. But thanks to the leadership of April, the support of the board, of Michelle's management of our finances, here we are nearly 3 years into a pandemic with membership that's grown over 25% and our financial balance sheet in a state that would reflect that. The other thing that I should do before making some substantive comments, I'm often asked, how did you go from practicing medicine with low-income families in the outer suburbs of Hobart to being the president of Boeing International? I will take on that role in January next year. And it's in this book. It is... of life and leadership, and all of the royalties, all of them, go to Lifeline and Legacy. I have only done what I have in my life as a consequence of the medical profession and the Australian taxpayers, and as conscience I cannot profit from it in any way. But through my journey of medicine, medico-political leadership, of politics with a capital P, diplomacy and the leadership of the Australian War Memorial, I've learned a number of things about leadership, and I often say to young people, I don't think it can be taught, but it can be learned, and the power's in the story. You can get it outside. I just ask people, form orderly queues, don't panic or rush the sales teams that'll be manning the multitude of desks. And if you're very fortunate and want to make an extra donation to my 2 charities, then I'll sign it for you. Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave. We just heard magnificent renditions of both our national anthems. 2 anthems, 2 nations, one common set of ideals, of values, whether Australians or Americans, whether by birth or by choice. We are equally committed to political, economic and religious freedoms. Our 2 societies where faith coexists with reason, free academic inquiry, an independent judiciary and a free press. And we too, Ambassador Kennedy, believe that some truths are self-evident, that all human beings are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. There's not a day goes by in this country where publicly or privately we don't give thanks for American sacrifice in the Pacific from December 1941 to the end of the Second World War. 300,000 American casualties, 103,000 dead, half their bodies never found. For over a century, as Joe Hockey worked so hard to remind us when he was our ambassador to the United States, we have served, fought, suffered and died with the United States in every major conflict, in support and defence of our common values and our interests. And as the late Senator John McCain said, our values are our interests and our interests are our values. But long before we fought with one another, we were trading with one another. The alliance was formalised in San Francisco in September 1951, and then a decade later, the American Chamber of Commerce in Australia was founded. The vision of its founders, to which we remain true, to facilitate interaction, to open communication, to explore possibilities, and to change thinking. And that is what this gala is about. Those technologies of which April reminded us: biotechnology, artificial intelligence, the digital economy, the energy transition and clean technology, space and quantum. We are especially grateful to Doug Ferguson and the team at KPMG for the work that they've done for us in looking at not just the human and social, but the economic benefits to our two countries of driving further in the digital economy, in quantum, and in artificial intelligence. The report, when you read it, will tell you that we expect the value of those three technologies alone to increase 20-fold by the end of this decade. And the expertise that's within this room now, to be recognised this evening, can play and is increasingly playing a really important role in US defence, in the financial sector, in education, and we think also in the provision of government services. The 35th President of the United States of America, President John F. Kennedy, defined the real struggles for his generation as being against tyranny, disease, poverty, and war. When he articulated his vision in science and space, as Stephen loosely reminded me recently, to send humankind to the moon and back within the decade of his presidency, he said, we're not doing it because it's easy, we're doing it because it's hard. And in concluding, I'd like you to know, Ambassador Kennedy, that you, your father, his brothers, your family have done much to create not only a better, stronger United States, but a better world. And one of the gifts that you have given us is that the belief to never let go, that the future is ours to shape. For us to nurture and protect our idealism and drive always for a better future, and never allow ourselves as human beings to become blind to injustice, deaf to despair, or indifferent to the future. For we are free. Thank you.